So if you're thinking about moving to Sacramento, California and you're looking to buy a home, good, because we need to have a serious conversation before you make any big decisions. Half of what you've heard about this place is outdated and the other half is missing the one thing that actually matters.
So today we're breaking down 10 things we genuinely love and genuinely hate about living in Sacramento, California. Real numbers, real neighborhoods, and even some real stories from our own client.
And stick around because number 5 is about your property tax bill, and it's something that most new residents don't find out until it's already too late. So we're going to be covering the good news and the bad news that you need to hear before you buy. We're pulling these stories straight from real conversations with past clients and with people that we've had Zoom calls with this week. So this isn't some generic list that you find off the internet. All right, now the number one thing on this list that I absolutely hate for me is going to be the growth around here. Now, I know that sounds weird coming from real estate agents who have a YouTube channel about what it's like relocating and moving to this area, but with the amount of growth here means a ton of construction and traffic pretty much everywhere you look. Highway 50, Highway 80, Highway 99, it doesn't matter. You're gonna have construction in every which direction. Now, Highway 50 heading towards Dorado Hills backs up almost every single afternoon. Watt Avenue, if you guys know, you know, during commute hours, it is rough. Now, the 99 through Elk Grove can turn a 20-minute drive into a 45-minute drive very easily. Now, we had a family move here from the East Bay last year, and they actually told us that their old commute felt a little bit shorter because they actually hadn't mapped out their new one first. Now, when they originally started looking into Rocklin last year, they were falling in love with the house. They fell in love with the home, the granite countertops, the pool, the entire package. But once we ran their actual drive time during the week from Rocklin to Midtown 5 days a week, it just didn't really work for them. And here's the real lesson. This metro is enormous. Elk Grove to Roseville is close to 50 minutes without zero traffic. You have to plan your commute before you plan your dream house. And it's not just about the daily grind either. Now, the whole region is in growth mode right now. So you're gonna see lots of cranes, lane closures, orange cones on almost every single corridor for years to come. And that's just one of the major trade-offs this metro has when the size is still expanding. The Capital City Freeway through downtown Sacramento, the 80 to 50 interchange, those bottlenecks are pretty well known to anyone who's lived here for a while. And if you're commuting through downtown daily, you learn some of the shortcuts fast, or you learn to leave 15 minutes earlier than you think you need.
Have you actually mapped out the commute for the neighborhoods you're considering? Because most people skip this step completely, and it's the number one regret we hear about over and over from clients. All right, now number 2, and this is a love for me, the parks and the community feel out here are honestly incredible. You've got the American River Parkway, which alone stretches 23 miles with trails and river access, and you'll see families out biking it every single weekend, rain or shine. And then you've got these master plan communities, Anatolia and Rancho Cordova, Lakeside in Elk Grove. You've got Russell Ranch out in the south side of Folsom. You've got pools, clubhouses, and parks built directly into some of these neighborhoods. And it's not an afterthought, it's actually planned for the community to get families out and to meet each other. Now, we had a family with 3 kids who moved here from Southern California, and the mom actually got emotional in the good way. The first time she realized the pool was a 5-minute walk instead of a 30-minute drive across town. Now, that kind of quality life shift is something that people don't fully expect until they're actually living it day to day. And it's not just the big master plan neighborhoods either. Land Park has the zoo, and Fairy Tale Town, and Funderland, and Sacramento City College right in the middle of it. And East Sacramento has these gorgeous tree-lined streets that you can walk for miles. There's genuinely a different flavor of community depending on which part of the metro you land in. We tell every relocating family the same thing. Go walk the neighborhood on a Saturday morning before you decide which neighborhood you want. You'll see kids on bikes, neighbors out with their dogs, and honestly, that tells you more than any listing photo or promotional ad ever could.
Now, that's exactly the reason why you guys reach out to us. Sometimes you guys want master plan communities. Sometimes you guys don't want HOAs. Sometimes you guys want a pool within that community. And that's where that phone number pops up. We handle these conversations every single time. Whether you're looking for the master plan community with the pool, you absolutely despise HOAs, or you want something that's walkable and you're a little bit closer to the urban core of downtown. So that phone number is going to be popping up. We are the ones that answer every phone call, email, and text message. We're Lance and Lauren with the Living in Sacramento team. So we help people make these decisions every single week. And number 3 on the list is one that I absolutely love chatting with you guys about on the Zoom calls. And that's what your money actually buys you here in comparison to specifically the Bay Area in Southern California. Now, you could be relocating from one of the more expensive states, and this could still apply there too. Now, when we're talking about brand new construction, 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom homes in the Elk Grove, Roseville, or Folsom range, that typically lands somewhere in that $700,000 to $800,000 range, depending on the builder and the lot. That same budget in the Bay Area gets you a 2-bedroom condo, maybe if the market's soft and if you're lucky. Now, we had a client last year sell the home in San Jose, and the equity alone bought them a much bigger home, and they had enough money left over where they could buy their rate down almost an entire point, and they had some money left over that they could live off of. Now, that's the actual math relocators need to see before they even start touring a single home, and that gap holds across price points too. Whether you're looking at a starter townhome in Natomas or a bigger custom luxury home out in Granite Bay, you're consistently getting more square footage in a bigger yard and a newer build for the same dollar you'd spend somewhere closer to the coast or down in Southern California. We run these comparisons for clients all the time, pulling actual recent sales from their target neighborhoods versus what they actually get back home.
So if the math in your current city stopped adding up a while ago, this is exactly why so many families are landing here instead. Now, next up, number 4, and this one's a love-hate for me. Honestly, the weather. Now, summers get hot here. We're talking triple digits for weeks at a time in July and August. There's no way around it. But here's what people don't expect. The Delta breeze usually rolls in by the evening. So even on a 104-degree day, you can be outside comfortably by 7 o'clock and go for your 45-minute walk like we do every single night. And for families coming from real winters or even just gray Bay Area fog half of the year, most of our clients tell us that they will take 4 hot months over the cold, dark ones every single time. It's genuinely 4 seasons here too, which a lot of California just does not get. Fall actually feels like fall with the leaves turning. You can spot it just about anywhere, whether you're in Fair Oaks or East Sacramento. Winter gets a real chill and even some of the tool fog mornings. Spring means green hills out towards the foothills before everything dries out for summer. You get all 4, not just 2.
So we're gonna break down 2 of the bigger ones, right? So winters, for all of you guys that are relocating from your snowy states, we don't shovel snow here. We deal with rain in the wintertime, and that's probably about the worst. Yeah, you could be choosing a home that's closer up to the foothills, and yeah, you might be in the snow line, but for the most part, if you're coming from a state, a northern state, an East Coast state that gets massive amounts of snow, you're kind of giving that up from here. Now, for some of you guys who are coming from some of those humidity states, we don't deal with that here either. So 95 actually feels like 95 here versus 95 feeling like 110 from some of those states. So we know we've had a couple of those sidebar conversations with some of you guys. Now, number 5 on this list, and this is one we told you guys to stick around for, but that's going to be the property taxes. Now, everybody assumes California property taxes are absolutely brutal, and honestly, the sticker price on the county website can look a lot scarier at first. But here's what most anybody doesn't explain before you move here. California has something called Proposition 13, and it caps how much your assessed value can actually increase each year, and that's at 2% no matter what homes valued are doing around you. We heard a lot of people that, that lived in the places like the Texases or the Arizonas, and a lot of those home prices around increased, and that affected everybody else who was an existing homeowner. So if home values increase around you, it doesn't change your property taxes. Your property taxes are fixed when you purchase the home. So while some states can reassess your home's value and basically hand you a brand new number every single year, ours are predictable, and you know almost exactly what your tax bill looks like 5 or even 10 years down the road. Now, there is a catch, and we will always be straight up with you guys. A lot of those newer construction communities carry something called Melrose. It's a special assessment that funds schools, roads, and infrastructures in those specific neighborhoods that can add a real $250 to $450 a month to your monthly payment. So the full picture is this. Resale homes can usually have a lower, more predictable tax bill thanks to Proposition 13. The new construction communities can come with those Melrose stacked on top of them. Both are very knowledgeable and knowable numbers, and as long as somebody walks you through them before you actually write an offer, this is exactly what we cover on every single call.
And that one number, Melrose or no Melrose, is honestly one of the biggest budget surprises that we help families avoid every single week.
Now, along with property taxes, there's a couple of other fees that probably will be a sticker shock if you're not from California, so we just want to cover those real quick. One of them is going to be car registration, is usually astronomically out proportion to where you're coming from. And gas prices. Gas prices here are typically about $1.25 more. So there's going to be other things that are going to be some cost of living things that might be a little bit more expensive from where you're coming from. But usually those other two are usually the big sticker shock. So yeah, property taxes are going to be a little bit more expensive here. We do have a state income tax, your gas prices, and then also your car registration. So kind of keep that in mind, as you're planning to move over here, that those are going to be some of those things that you kind of can expect.
All right, now next up, number 6, and I love this one. It's Sacramento's food and the farmers market scene. Now, we're officially known as the farm to fork capital, and you can genuinely taste it when you're here. Midtown alone has this incredible restaurant density packed into a walkable grid that you can cover in an afternoon. You've got Sunday's farmers markets spread all across the Greater Sacramento region. One of the biggest ones is going to be the farmers market under the freeway downtown. You also have the Saturday morning market out in Fair Oaks Village, pop-up events throughout Oak Park, and there is genuinely something happening almost every single weekend. And the farmers markets aren't all just in Sacramento. If you live in a suburb, if you pick Roseville, if you pick Elk Grove, heck, even Rocklin and Lincoln, all of them have special farmers markets that are located directly in the suburbs. So you don't even have to leave and come down into the city to get that great produce.
I would say farmers markets are going to be the lifeblood of the Sacramento and the surrounding suburbs. We thrive off of farm to fork. We thrive off of locally owned and sourced restaurants that have such good food here that it's absolutely amazing. So farmers markets in any of the areas, check them out. Make sure that that's one of the things that you have planned on your to-do list when you're coming out here for your first scouting trip. All right, now number 7 on this list, and this is a hate for me, mostly because people get it wrong super often, but that's picking a suburb without checking out your actual commute reality first. A lot of times people pick areas based off of their vacation, not based off of their Monday through Friday. So Roseville into downtown Sacramento on I-80 during rush hour, you can budget anywhere between 40 to 45 minutes, absolute minimum. Elk Grove up to 99 into Midtown, same story, maybe a little bit shorter, but easily a 35 to 45 minute commute. Now, we had a client who decided to rent here first. They were living up in Lincoln, but they were working down at Kaiser South Sacramento, and that's just where they got their job opportunity. And they were dealing with almost an hour and 25-minute commute one way. So 2.5 hours total. They both worked opposite shifts and they didn't really get to see each other a whole lot. So when we started looking for a home and where they were actually going to be working at, they actually decided that Elk Grove made the most sense for them and ended up buying new construction because it was only about a 20-minute commute from the south side of Elk Grove to that Kaiser South Sacramento. Now, the region is massive, so do not fall in love with the floor plan before you actually fall in love with your everyday drive. This is exactly why we ask relocating clients about their job situation as the very first question before we ever send them out to a single area or home tour or scouting trip. Where you work should drive which suburb you even start looking at or whichever corridor. Now, if you're fully remote, it opens up a ton of options, but especially figuring out your lifestyle after that. If you are living in Roseville, but you've got to go to Rancho Cordova, or you're living in Folsom and you got to take frequent trips out to the airport, all of it can make sense, but we definitely want to cover those things before you start really falling in love with some of those houses.
All right, so seriously, if you only remember one single thing from this video, remember to map your commute before you fall for a specific house or an area, because it can either make you love Sacramento and the greater surrounding areas, or it can make you think that this was the worst decision that you ever made. All right, now next up, number 8, and this is a big one. You've got the community centers and the neighborhood culture out in the suburbs. Folsom's got the Palladio and historic Sutter Street. There's always things going on there. The Palladio always has a ton of events, especially throughout the summer. They've got summer concert series. They've got different like game nights and different events that they do out there. You also have historic Sutter Street where there's always a vibe happening there. Whether you're there on a Friday night or a Saturday night, that street is always happening. Rocklin's got Whitney Ranch with pools and a sports court that's built right into the neighborhood. Definitely family-friendly vibe. Then you've got Dorado Hills, which has its own town center that's complete with a lake and an outdoor amphitheater. They do a ton of holiday events here. Whether you're here at Easter or Christmas, they've got a big tree lighting ceremony. At Easter, they do a really cool egg hunt that anybody from the community can come and participate in, and it's all free. And it's awesome because it's a great way to get out and meet people that live directly in your community as well. Now, personally, I think Roseville takes the cake when it comes to community events. The city of Roseville does a great job with year-round events that cater towards everyone in your family. So if you've got kids, they do a really cool like trash truck thing where they bring out their trash trucks or their big digger trucks. So if you've got boys, I'm sure they would love that. I never had boys, so I don't know, but I've heard from people that their kids love those trash truck events. But it's not just all geared towards kids. They also do Wine Down Wednesdays in the fall, which is a ton of fun. You get a lot of local wineries that come out. You can buy a little season pass and it's every Wednesday night for a couple of weeks in a row where you get to taste different wines, which is a lot of fun. We went last year, we had a great time. They also do Tuesday nights, which is a whole vibe. We were there just the other week walking around checking things out. We actually met one of you guys there, which was really cool that you guys came up to us and were like, are you Lance and Lauren with the Living in Sacramento team? You're the reason I moved here. So that was a lot of fun. But Roseville always has a ton of events going on. And then they also do events for the specific holidays. They've got the turkey trot that our daughter used to love to run in. That's every Thanksgiving morning. They also do a big tree lighting ceremony. They do tree decorating contests during December as well. So in my opinion, Roseville's where my heart is, but they take the cake on some of those outings. But you can definitely get that vibe no matter what suburb you're in. All of these suburbs do a great job at some of the community events that they have going on that are all free to the community. You don't even have to pay to come out and enjoy some time with your neighbors and friends.
And that's why you guys reach out to us, because Roseville may work really well for us and our situation, our family, and our commute, but it might not work really well for you guys. And so that's where we tell you guys, like, let's chat. We'll ask you 2 or 3 or 4 questions and really try to figure out your guys' lifestyle, your job, where you guys are going to be commuting, what you guys like to do on the weekend as well as the weekday, and what kind of like that 20-minute bubble looks like. And so, just because it works for us doesn't mean it will work for you guys, and vice versa. So there's a lot of really cool areas and a lot of really awesome areas that are great, and there's going to be some that are going to be better for you guys, and there's going to be some that won't really fit with your guys' lifestyle. So that's the biggest part about making sure that we do the right kind of research and that we do the right kind of scouting trips when you guys are out here. Now, number 9, and this one's the love for me, and everything that you can actually reach within an hour or 2 of home. Now, not even just an hour or 2 at home, but even just 10 or 15 minutes outside of your front door. Now, Sacramento is primarily built on outdoor activities and lifestyles. We have pretty mild to moderate weather here most of the year. We have over 280 days of sunshine. So most of the time you can actually go outside. It's not raining, too horribly in the wintertime. And even when it is, you can still go do a lot of stuff. But Folsom Lake is going to be about 20 to 25 minutes from downtown. But depending on where you're at, if you're in a Roseville or Folsom or any one of those suburbs, it can be 10 or 15 minutes out your back door. You've got boating, paddleboarding, hiking trails, all wrapped around the water, and it's packed every hot Saturday for good reason. So you can also head an hour and a half east and you're at Lake Tahoe in the wintertime, skiing, snowboarding all winter long, boating and beaches all summer long, and some of the clearest water that you'll find anywhere in the country. You can go an hour and a half the opposite direction and you're at the coast, where you can go crabbing at Dillon's Beach, you can go to Bodega Bay, you can go to San Francisco if you're really craving that big city trip. We've had clients that used to fly from Southern California to Tahoe every winter for their ski trip. Now it's just a shorter drive than his old commute to the office ever was. So you go the opposite direction, you can go a little bit south into Amador, El Dorado Hills for wine country. That's about an hour out. You've got Napa, which is just a little under 2 hours if you want a kind of a bigger name kind of wine tastings. Now, those kind of weekend trips are a lot of things that people don't really realize that they're signing up for until they actually move here and they start kind of exploring. Another thing too is we're also within like a 2.5 to 3 hour drive from a lot of national and state parks. So it genuinely changes how you plan your Saturdays and Sundays, because back home, it might have just been a full day getting somewhere else. Out here, you can be on a boat or a ski lift or tasting wine within an hour and still have time for dinner. We hear that from almost every single family who's moved here. They're from somewhere where fewer options are nearby, and the sheer amount that they can pack into one weekend still actually surprises them.
All right, now number 10, and this one is my favorite one. It's gonna be the people. Sacramento gets this reputation for being sleepy or just a Bay Area suburb with nothing going on. And honestly, that couldn't be further from the truth. People here are genuinely welcoming. Neighbors actually introduce themselves. Local Facebook groups will help you find a plumber at 9 o'clock at night when you really need one. And we've had clients get invited to a block party before they even finished unpacking all their boxes.
Now, before we get too deep into this one, sometimes you guys will read a lot of the comments on the YouTube channel. You'll see a lot of people on there, a lot of the keyboard warriors that are saying people don't want you to move there. The place is full. We don't want any more people from Southern California or Bay Area. And that honestly couldn't be further from the truth. The people on those comments are not a reflection of what Sacramento is really about. The people here still have that small town warmth. It's wrapped inside of a real growing city. And that's the exact combination why so many of our clients end up telling their own friends back home why they loved they moved here.
Yeah, so don't believe those keyboard warriors that you see in some of our comments. Like we said, we get a lot of stories from clients once they're here and they never experience any of that negativity. Usually what we end up hearing is, as soon as we moved in, the neighbor brought us cookies or baked bread, and we are already making friends and hanging out with our new group of people that we just met here. Now, the truth is we've watched entire friend groups relocate here in waves. one family moves, falls in love with it, and then within a year, 2 or 3 more families from their old neighborhood follow right behind them.
Now, a lot of the people that follow them aren't just their friends from their old neighborhoods. We've also seen generations change. We've seen grandparents retire to the Sacramento area because they're wanting to be closer to their grandkids. So all in all, the first move usually is the first domino that makes the rest of the dominoes fall. So let us know down in the comments what surprised you the most, the good or the bad. Drop it in the comments down below because your experience might genuinely help someone else make the right decision. So let's recap real quick. Traffic and growing pains, yes, they're super real and we're not going to pretend otherwise because the parks, the community, the food scene, and the people, that's what actually makes families stay long term. So before moving here, most people picture hot summers and brutal Bay Area lifestyle commute. After they're moving here, they tell us more house for their money, real seasons, real community, and a tax picture that's a little bit more predictable than what they expected.
That's the before and after that we hear from relocating families over and over again. Traffic, the heat, and the Melrose surprise on new construction, those are real trade-offs. But the parkway, the food scene, the community, and honestly, the people, that's what keeps families here for the long haul.
And once you understand the Prop 13 and the Melrose and how that all stuff actually works, those fears that a lot of newcomers walk in with mostly disappear.
So if you're a Bay Area family, a Southern California family, or you're simply weighing Sacramento against other options, this is exactly the kind of thing we walk people through every single day.
And if you're thinking about moving to Sacramento, California and buying a home, reach out and book your free Zoom relocation planning call with us. We help you figure out exactly if the area fits your lifestyle and your budget before you make any big decisions that you can't take back. So if you really want to know what we think the #1 pro of living here really is, remember we are the #1 trusted relocation team in the Sacramento area. So give us a call, shoot us a text, or send us that email. We've got your back when it comes to relocating to the Sacramento Metro. We walked hundreds of families through the entire process. Every single one of them started with the exact same questions you probably have right now.
Now, the #1 pro of living in Sacramento is your property taxes are actually predictable. And that's thanks to Prop 13. You know almost exactly what you're paying years down the road. And that is not something most other states can honestly promise you. And if you're serious about moving out here and you want more videos just like this one, we built this playlist right here.
Go ahead, click on it, and we'll see you over on the next one.